Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News. We're live on Joy 99.7 FM here in Accra and Kumasi. We're on Love 99.5 FM. Also on myjoyonline.com. Live in all 16 regions. We're on Gangai FM in Jirapa, A1 Radio and Dreams FM in Bogatanga, Jubilee FM in Keta, and Flow FM in Apawu. We're live on X Spaces. We're on Facebook. The Midday News is supported by Petrol Sol, your clean fuel in full quantity. Petrol Sol is always a delightful experience. Also brought to you by Dura Plus Ghana Limited, producers of quality PVC and HDP pipes and water tank. We are the only water storage tank with a level indicator, and where Dura Plus goes, water flows. In this edition, businessman Richard Jakpa's lawyers file court application alleging prosecutorial abuse, claiming the Attorney General admitted charges were due to pressure from President Akufo-Addo and former Finance Minister. We have details from this application filed in court. Plus, we'll get to hear from a lawyer who says if this application is successful, it will collapse the entire case of the state in court.
Once the allegations that the third accused is making, the involvement of President Akufo-Addo, etc., Oforiatta and the rest, once it's proven, it inures to the benefit of the rest. So the whole case will be stopped.
In this edition, also, Electoral Commission exceeds the limited voter registration target by over 100,000, while 13,000 face potential jail for electoral violations.
The party themselves are fighting over registration of minors, foreigners, and the rest, on grounds that they were not 18 years, they were not Ghanaians, or they were not residing in the district they were claiming to be.
But the NDC is urging caution and transparency as the EC scrutinizes the challenged names.
That should be done only in a manner that is credible and transparent, so that they don't end up deleting even people who are not minors or foreigners.
Uneasy calm prevails in Mamikrobo in the Afram Plains South District as investigations into the murder of two nomadic herdsmen intensifies 24 hours after the discovery of their bodies.
The pain still remains, more especially when the bodies have not been buried. However, we need an intensive investigation. We need a broader interrogation and consultation.
We have sports, and then later in the bulletin, which jersey are you repping as we prepare for the 13th edition of the Hits FM Rep Your Jersey event happening tomorrow at the Aviation Social Center.
It's going to be bigger and better. I mean, we've done this 13 times. There's going to be a five-a-side tournament. That's something that most people look forward to.
That and more in this afternoon's edition of the Midday News. I am Emefa. Apawu, this is your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. Please do stay on. Many thanks for your company. And this afternoon, fresh documents filed in court by lawyers for Richard Jakpa, who is standing trial with the minority leader for causing financial loss to the state, is alleging gross prosecutorial abuse and abuse of the court process by the Attorney General. Richard Jakpa wants the charges against him to be struck out by the court and alleges that the AG told him that he was not guilty of the charges he had filed against him in court. The process also allege that the AG brought the criminal case against him and the minority leader because of pressure from President Akufo-Addo and then Finance Minister Ken Oforiatta. My colleague, member of the Legal Affairs Desk, Kweku Asante, joins me in studio with a copy of this application filed by lawyer for Richard Jakpa, Thaddeus Sore. So first, Kweku, tell us about the reliefs the applicant is seeking from the court and the law he bases his application on.
So, this application filed by Thaddeus Sore is seeking striking out the charges and accordingly terminating the proceedings against the third accused person, that is Richard Jakpa, in this case, and or alternatively, a stay of the proceedings before the court against the third accused person. They say that the Attorney General, at whose instance the third accused is being prosecuted in this instance suit, has brought the charges and instituted the proceedings in abuse of the process of the court and contrary to his constitutional obligations and Article 23 and 296 of the 1992 Constitution. Again, they say the Attorney General, at whose instance the third accused is being prosecuted in this suit, has instituted the proceedings in abuse of his prosecutorial powers contrary to his constitutional obligations. And then, in engagements with the third accused person, the Attorney General has admitted that there is no case against the accused person and that the continued prosecution of the third accused, that is Richard Jakpa, violates his right to a fair trial.
Now, we're also learning that according to this particular process that has been filed, it says the AG told him at some point, that's Jakpa, that he was not guilty of any of the charges preferred against him. Now, where did this meeting take place?
He does not say that in this application, and we understand that that may come up under cross-examination, and he wants to keep those details close to his chest. But this process says that after his release on bail, that is Richard Jakpa, on the terms set by the court, he did meet Honorable Godfred Dame, the Attorney General, in the early part of the year 2022 and explained to him the background and nature of the transaction on which the prosecution against him was being mounted. And then after listening to him, Honorable Godfred Dame assured him that he has now appreciated the facts and issues relating to the transaction and indicated to Richard Jakpa that in law, agents are not liable for the acts of their principals. He further told Richard Jakpa that his understanding of the contract, based on him, the Attorney General's understanding of the contract, the court was likely to acquit him at the submission of no case stage because he was not going to oppose it. Adding that, as a matter of fact, Dr. Sylvester Manima, who then was the second accused person, and himself, Richard Jakpa, were just added as accused persons in order to mask the real target of the prosecution, which is the first accused, Dr. Kesela Tofosin, the minority leader.
Now, he says in his affidavits also that the AG told him that he was under pressure from the president and the Minister of Finance, former finance minister, to bring these charges against him and the minority leader.
Yes, we know that this case was originally filed around the time the minority was opposing the 2022 budget and the e-levy. And according to this affidavit, Honorable Dame explained to Richard Jakpa, the first accused person, that the prosecution had to be undertaken because of pressure from the former finance minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, and the president, and assured him, Richard Jakpa, repeatedly that he was not the target of the prosecution. Based on the interaction, I quote, I had with Honorable Dame, a relationship of trust developed between us because I believed him, since as a lawyer and the person who initiated the prosecution, he assured me that as an agent, I am not in law liable for my principal's action. Very well aware that I now trusted him, Honorable Dame told me that he was informed that during the investigations, I had made some documents available to Yoko and demanded those same documents. I sent them to him from my cell phone. My first hunch was that Honorable Dame may be abusing the trust I reposed in him when it came to me assuring that as an agent, he was not liable for the acts of his principal. The Attorney General then broke the agreement they had and opposed his submission, contesting the submission of no case. He says, the court upheld the Attorney General's contention that the case had been made against him. And he said he met the Attorney General again in the first week of May, and he asked the Attorney General why he will not file a nolli prosequi in respect of his prosecution as he did with the then second accused. Honorable Dame answered that it would then leave only Dr. Atoforsen as the accused person, which will make it even more obvious that the first accused, that is Atoforsen, was the target of the prosecution. In any event, I quote, as I have always explained, the nature of the transaction to the learned Attorney General based on the relevant documents, even though I always had a lawyer representing me in court, I told him during several meetings with him that I was unable to testify in the manner suggested by him so as to incriminate the minority leader, because such testimony will be betrayed by the documents and evidence in any event will not be honest.
Interesting details there. My colleague Kwekwa Sante, thank you for bringing us details on that. Well, we can hear from lawyer Martin Pibu, who says the entire case of the state being prosecuted by the Attorney General could collapse if the allegations by Jakpa are proven in court.
Once sufficient evidence is adduced in the trial, the court has no option but to strike out the charges, or in other words, stop the trial altogether. So there is a duty on the prosecutor to reveal his own misconduct. The court will have to go into it, and once it's found that the evidence is genuine, that the prosecutor, in this case the Attorney General, sought to suborn a witness to perjure himself. So in that case, the judge has to stop. And there are countless cases in England and the US where they've stopped such cases. And it doesn't matter that a 7th accused who is mounting the application. Once the allegations that the third accused is making, the involvement of President Kufuor, etc., Ofori-Atta and the rest, once it's proven, it inures to the benefit of the rest. So the whole case will be stopped.
So that's legal practitioner Martin Pebu. Let me bring in Kweku Pencil now. Let's get some more views on this particular issue. We are grateful for your time here on the Midday News, Mr. Pencil. So let's find out first if there's a precedent for this sort of applications, literally to hold mini trials within the bigger trial, or just an attempt to buy more time.
You are seeking my view. Hello?
Yes, Kweku Pencil. Exactly what I'm doing.
No, many trials are permitted. I mean, by our rules of court, and therefore, it's nothing strange. The real issue is whether, on the facts and the evidence, mini trial is required in this particular case. And I have my doubts. But, let me put it this way. Mm-hmm. This is a matter, it's a substantive matter before a court of law, and I will comment with a lot of restraint. But having heard what my colleague has said, I fundamentally disagree with the arguments that he's making. Because on the facts, you see, every fact must be placed within proper context. My understanding, and somebody may prove me or may correct me if I'm wrong, my understanding is that the Attorney General engaged this particular witness within the context of some discussions which was intended to strike a deal between the Attorney General and that particular witness. And I'm saying that as a matter of law, two principles that I like to establish. There is nothing absolutely wrong with the Attorney General engaging a witness in a matter. Listen very carefully. The only requirement of law is that discussion ought properly to have been held with his counsel, if he had counsel at the time of the particular engagement. I don't have the dates, I don't have the facts, but the presumption or the assumption that we have all made, or everybody is making, is that at all material times that the discussions took place, the man had a lawyer, and properly speaking, the discussion shall be held with a lawyer. Fair enough. But if the Attorney General had discussion with a man without his lawyer, but within the same object of trying to reach an agreement, the whole spirit of ending negotiations to a result in a form of agreement is without prejudice. My major problem with what is going on is that this man has had a without prejudice meeting. The whole of the contents of everything that they discussed. And you see, when a person is going to have a without prejudice meeting, this demonstrates that obviously with a view to broadcast the without prejudice meeting, he will be very restrained in what the kind of things that he says.
Okay.
And therefore, I will say that the Attorney General was set up for this meeting. But the long and short is that the law is that all discussions that are held in a without prejudice meeting are not for the ears of the court or the public or anybody.
But when, Mr. Pencil,
Hello?
to the extent that, Mr. Pencil, so this without prejudice meeting that you talk about, to the extent that the AG told this accused person that he is not guilty and that there's pressure on him from the president and the former finance minister to actually prosecute this case, is that not relevant in terms of the ongoing trial?
Madam, this is a private discussion. The two of us meet with a view to reach an agreement. The rule of law, the practice of law says that whatever we have said is not something for public consumption. It's for the two of us. So let me show you what. In the present application before the court, I'm just making a prediction. I'm not saying that that's what's going to end up eventually in court. How to get the court to listen to a without prejudice discussion. Please listen carefully. This matter is not before a prosecutor to look into, to possibly advise as to what criminal charges to bring against the attorney or whatever. You are taking it to a court of law. And what you're doing is you are convincing a court of law that a meeting that was held, which was a without prejudice meeting, the judge must break the code of conduct concerning a without prejudice meeting and consider the parties give and take at that meeting.
So the details, even though it was for private consumption, Mr. Pencil.
I'm not acting as a prophet.
Okay.
But mark me down. That evidence is the judge cannot even receive that evidence for purposes of making any determination. Because of the context of the meeting, I can appreciate our concern. If, for instance, at this meeting, the man said, I was going to kill, I was going to even commit some criminal conduct or commit some criminal offense. even though it's a prejudice meeting, then the question arises as to what to do with that evidence. Must that evidence, that possibly talks about criminality, be the subject of court proceedings, and for what purpose? If the man's argument is that from the beginning, there was no basis for the criminal charges, that argument will stand from the beginning to the end.
Well, we'll leave it here for now, Mr. Painsil. Unfortunately, I'm out of time on this, and definitely this is a discussion that we'll be having as the day progresses. Really, I'm sure there are other lawyers who hold different view on what you've just said, but we are grateful for your time. That's Mr. Painsil there. He's a legal practitioner sharing his views on JAPA's process that has been filed in court. Well, still on the trial, the Attorney General's Department says he has no objection to the application by the minority leader to have this trial broadcast live. Deputy Attorney General Alfred Chiayeboah says they also want a day-to-day hearing of the case to complete the trial early.
We have no objection to that request, but of course, subject to the discretion of the Chief Justice, because we believe in transparency, we believe in accountability, and we abhor misreporting. And so, if the Chief Justice, in her wisdom, decides that this matter should be live, we have no objection to say. In fact, the AG at different fora had indicated that when it comes to public interest matters or matters where the public has that kind of interest, it will be the interest of justice that such proceedings are broadcast live on tele and on radio. Not only the broadcast, we also look at a situation where we have day-to-day hearing so that we can get to the end of this matter as soon as possible.
That's the Deputy Attorney General, Alfred Chiayeboah. Meanwhile, Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonu has been charging newly enrolled lawyers to the bar to be agents of change to the legal practice by exhibiting competence, integrity, and upholding the rule of law. The event, which is the first of two such programs to take place this year, saw 182 handed the certificate to legally practice as lawyers in the country.
This places an onerous responsibility on you to be competent and diligent at what you do. So as you jump in excitement, let me also whisper to you to please calm down and approach this profession with all your ears, mind, and thoughts. Kindly reflect on the structurally strong ways in which society has been changing in the last century and the last decade.
That's the Chief Justice, Gertrude Tokonu. Now on to some other issues. And labor unions and management of the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital have issued a stern warning against any attempt to remove Chief Executive Professor Ochre Adai-Mensah in a spirited defense against allegations of financial misappropriation and procurement breaches made by former hospital lawyer Kwame Adofo, who served as the hospital's lawyer until December 31, 2023. Staff and workers of the hospital have vowed to resist any attempt to remove the CEO while denying the allegations leveled against him. We can hear Dr. Michael Leeds, president of the CAF Staff Association.
So I want to enjoin the up and coming ones that don't give up on your passion, don't give up on your dreams. It's been a...
The lawyer has petitioned the president, and if you read through our statement very well, we said that yes, the president, we know, will not just take a new decision without really going into the details of what is happening in the hospital. He has all the tools, all the means to do any investigation that he deems right. But like we said, we will resist any person, who decides based on whatever motive that person has, just to distract our development and then call for the dismissal of our chief executive. The president has the ultimate power to do whatever he wants, but we know he will take the right decision.
Well, meanwhile, lawyers of the hospital CEO have filed a defamation suit against lawyer Kwame Adofo, amongst others. And my colleague, Nana Boachi Dankwayi-Adom, has been following this for us. Joins us on the line. First, Nana, are you able to run us through the details of this defamation suit?
Well, Professor Ochre Adai-Mensah, who is the CEO of the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital, has filed a defamation suit against lawyer Kwame Adofo, who we've been told petitioned President Akufo-Addo, citing two charges against the CEO, misappropriation of the hospital funds, and then some other major allegations he did raise in his petition. Well, he was a lawyer until December 31st when he was moved out for another person to take over. The defamation suit is being presented by lawyers of the CEO, demanding some 5 million Ghana cedis, as they say that the petition that was presented by Mr. Kwame Adolfo are on right, and then they defame the image of the hospital and then the CEO himself.
Well, but we've been hearing from a response from the management and the CEO on the concerns raised by labor unions. What exactly have they been saying?
Well, Emefa, as we speak, the hospital has also sued the lawyer in question. They are also suing for some damages. The labor unions are also saying that the allegations being leveled against the CEO are untrue and they are not without merit. So the president should commence an investigation if need be. But then for actions of dismissing the CEO, they do stand against it.
That's my colleague Nana Boachi Dankwayi Adam giving us updates on that situation at the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital. Now, let's head to Mame Krobo. The Ephraim Plain South District Security Council is stepping up patrols across the district following the unresolved murder of 2 unidentified men believed to be nomadic herdsmen. The bodies, which are yet to be buried, were discovered in the bush with their heads and other parts missing, and they had sustained gunshot wounds. In response to rising tensions, military and police officers have been deployed to the area. However, residents are demanding a thorough and swift investigations into the incident. Evans Chain 3 is the DCE of the area.
Yesterday, the Fumbe community leadership, that is the leadership of the Fulani community, came all along to our district to petition us and also have a media engagement on the subject matter that we all been battling for the past 7 days. The pain still remains, more especially when the bodies have not been buried. However, as we speak now, the police issued a statement yesterday night. They have deployed intelligence into the district.
Well, the police in the last few minutes have been issuing a statement on this particular issue, insisting that they've intensified investigations into the incident. My colleague Maxwell Agbagba of our security desk joins me in studio with more on this. What is the police saying exactly?
Well, the police says they've intensified investigations into the murder of the 2 persons in the eastern region town of Takrachfeni near Mamikrobo by deploying a specialized investigative team to assist the Eastern North Regional Police Command. Now, the specialized investigative team, which has been deployed from the police headquarters, includes crime scene experts, homicide investigators, and undercover officers. Emefa.
That's Maxwell Agbagba taking us on a quick break here on the Midday News, live on Joy 99.7 FM in Accra and Kumasi on Love 99.5 FM. We are live in all 16 regions. The Midday News is supported by Petrol Sol, your clean fuel in full quantity. Duraplus Ghana Limited, producers of quality PVC and HDP pipes and water tank. Where Duraplus goes, water flows. We've been hearing details of the businessman Richard Jakpa's lawyers writ that has been filed, alleging prosecutorial abuse, claiming the Attorney General admitted charges were due to pressure from President Akufo-Addo and former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta. We return with sports, and then which jersey are you repping as we prepare for the 13th edition of the Hits FM Rep Your Jersey event? Is happening tomorrow at the Aviation Social Center.
It's going to be bigger and better. I mean, we've done this 13 times. There's going to be a 5-a-side tournament. That's something that most people look forward to.
When budgets are tight and money difficult to come by, you want to be sure you get the best value for your money. These are not times to be spending money fixing expensive engine problems because of cheap fuel and lubricants. Drive to a petrol source station today and buy your quality fuel and lubricants, and rest assured of fuel that lasts long and lubricants that prevent expensive engine problems. Hear the sound. Petrosol, clean fuel in full quantity.
The regular football season is over. But not for us here at Supersport. We've got a big deal coming your way. Get connected to DSTV to see some of football's biggest names starring in all 51 matches of Euro 2024, live and in HD. Now that's a big deal.
Hello, Ghana. Are you tired of the same old political rhetoric? Do you believe it is time for a change that truly represents the voices of our youth, women, and children? I present to you Nana Kwame Bediako. He is a visionary leader with a passion for making our country better through innovative industrial revolution. Together, we can change the political narrative and create a government that truly represents the interest of all citizens. Join this journey to build a better and inclusive future for all by contributing to our Save Ghana Fund campaign. Your support, no matter the amount, is not just a donation. It is an investment in the shared desire for a more prosperous, equitable, and better nation. To donate, visit www.nkb.com.gh or dial *887 *2024 #. Thank you for your support.
This is the Midday News on Joy 99.7 FM. This time for sports. Mr. Chu is here.
And we're all excited about tomorrow's Hits FM Rep Your Jersey.
Yay.
But before that, the Black Stars of Ghana are in action today. They'll hold their first training session at the University of Ghana Stadium at 4:30 p.m. later this afternoon. It's part of their preparations for the FIFA World Cup qualifiers against Mali and the Central African Republic. Otuado's men will train in Accra for 5 days before departing for Bamako on Tuesday, the 4th of June, for the crucial Group I encounter against the Eagles of Mali. Public Relations Manager at the Ghana Football Association, Neil Armstrong Mortagbe, is calling for support for this phase of rebuilding in the Black Stars.
A broad perspective on what he's doing. He knows the players that are potentially available, the players that are on injury list who should be coming back. He's worked with Dede before. Dede is not a stranger to him. So if he says at this time, for these 2 games, this is the stock of players that he's going to work with, I think we'll just respect that decision and put all our support behind him, because he's called for it, that we are on a sort of a rebuild, in his words. And so in rebuilding, you look at blending the old or the experience with the new. And he has some experience in there and feels that the experience he has in there is good enough for these 2 matches to blend with, especially the new ones that he's brought in. To give us, hopefully, the kind of output that we expect.
You heard Neil Armstrong speaking about the Black Stars there. It's an open session, and so if you're able to pass through the University of Ghana Stadium, you can watch your Black Stars train.
Definitely do. Thanks. Gets into the election headquarters now. And your election headquarters is made possible by Petrosol, Clean Fuel in full quantity, CIMA, the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, CIMA, AICP and CIMA together as the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants, the German Ozone Medical Center, Alternative Therapy, Dental Wellness and Beauty, Chopbox Technologies, a convenient service, Youth Bridge Foundation, bridging gaps for positive youth development. And this afternoon, the Electoral Commission have exceeded the target for the limited voter registration exercise by over 100,000 more. The EC targeted to register 623,000 new voters at the start of the 23-day exercise, but provisional figures as at the end of the last but 1 day stood at almost 750,000. We can hear from Director of Electoral Services, Dr. Strebo Kwekwo.
We are registered provisionally 747,715.
747,000.
715.
Are you closer, or you've exceeded the target?
The target was 623,000.
Now, some Ghanaians living in the USA have intensified their calls for the implementation of the Representation of the People Amendment Law, ROPAL. They made the call at a program with the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, in Virginia, USA. Nana Sensumensa has the rest of the story.
Representation of the People Amendment Law, ROPAL, is an act that was passed in 2006 with the aim to allow Ghanaians living abroad to vote wherever they are in the diaspora. Obaya Frimpong is chairperson of the New Patriotic Party branch in the USA.
The ROPAL was to allow us to vote here. Instead of us coming to Ghana, come and register, come back, and then go back again to vote. I think that is too much in terms of resources to us.
And still in the election headquarters, flag bearer of the NDC, John Mahama, has pledged to initiate a comprehensive plan, design and feasibility study for constructing a new city outside Accra if elected president.
Accra is getting gridlocked. The time has come for us to move some parts of the government services out of Accra. Accra will continue to be the capital, but we'll move part of it outside. There's land on the Accra Plains, there's land on the other bank of the Volta Lake.
Former President John Mahama taking us out of the election headquarters, and we're getting ready for the 13th edition of the Hits FM Rep Your Jesse. Which one are you repping?
Of course.
Jackie and Max are in the studios.
You know, I'm repping Real Madrid, by the way.
Okay.
Yes.
You know me, I don't really do football. I'm not a football person,
At least
but Real Madrid, yeah. And I'm repping tomorrow, actually.
Yeah. At exactly 10 a.m. at the Aviation Social Center. We'll be there.
What are others talking about?
A lot is happening. There's
Afronita.
Yeah, but before Afronita, so Masantua is trending. She's a TikTok influencer. So she's trending after she posted her birthday wish list. And the birthday wish list, she said a lot. Emefa, when is your birthday? What do you actually want for yourself when your birthday gets there? What do you want for yourself?
What does she want? Let's talk about
it. iPhone 15 Pro Max. Money. The money inquires like 5. Bouquet. Apple Watch Series 9, AirPod Max, original Huggies that. Oh,
diapers.
A whole lot.
You just want iPhone, and money,
and Apple Series Watch, and a whole lot, and Huggies diapers. You know she has a child too, and people are actually cooking her on social media, sharing their opinion about this. You know, people are saying that it's called e-begging and a whole lot. You get it?
Britain's Got Talent is also trending. Abigail is trending. 2 young Ghanaian dancers, Afronita and Abigail, made Ghana proud by making it into the grand finale of Britain's Got Talent. You know, I was saying earlier. I was saying earlier that I had teary eyes. Kwekwa Santi thinks that I'm not a hard guy.
I had goosebumps whilst watching that.
And they danced to this banger.
Fuse Simon Cowell.
Yeah.
When you got it, you got it.
Fuse ODG was there, and they did justice to the song actually.
They'll definitely win, and we wish them all the best. And that's how we wrap up today's edition of the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. Do enjoy your weekend. Living Word with Pastor Mensel to build the Father in his household. Episode 10 is up next. I am Emefa. Apawu. Do some azonto.